Hello, Profit Hackers. I'm Jeremy Lott, the Chief Visionary for Foundation Accounting and Consulting. I owned a construction company for about 15 years before making a change to accounting because my accountants sucked. My goals are to simplify accounting for construction company owners, fuel your profits, level up your cash flow, and help you grow in a financially responsible way. So let's go. Hello and welcome back. We are discussing the bidding process and how to put together a good bid or estimate, right? I'm Jeremy with Foundation Accounting and Consulting, and this is the Contractor's Profit Hack Show. And I'm excited to talk a little bit today about this topic, markup, marking up our costs, right? So in our bidding or estimating process, there are 4 steps. Number 1, we're going to bid a process. Number 2, we are going to figure out all of our costs for each step in that process. Number 3, we are going to then add a markup to those costs. And number 4, we're going to compare it back to the market. All right. So, have you ever seen that picture where you look at it and some people see an old lady and other people see a young lady, right? Neither person is wrong. They're both right. They're both there. It just comes down to what you focus on and how you look at it from your perspective, right? I think there's another one with a duck and a rabbit, right? Where depending on how you look at it, it's going to be a little bit different, right? Again, they're both correct. Not one or the other is correct. They're both correct. It all comes down to your perspective and how you're looking at things, okay? The reason that I bring that up here at the start is that we are going to talk about the difference between markup and margin. Okay? Now, this is a very confusing topic for a lot of people because it just doesn't make sense. If I mark something up 33%, I expect to see 33% profit on that job. Well, math gets in the way of all that. Let's look at it this way. Instead of putting numbers to it, we're going to instead picture colorful blocks, right? So we're going to picture in our minds, all right, 2 red blocks next to each other. 2 red blocks. And those 2 red blocks represent our costs to do the job. Okay? So our costs to do that job are 2 red blocks. I then want to mark it up 50%. Well, what is 50% of 2 red blocks? It's 1 red block, right? So we are going to take that block and we're going to add a block, 1 block of equal size right next to the other 2 blocks. And we'll make that one blue or green. We'll say green since we like green M&Ms and that's our profit, right? So we have 2 red blocks that represent our costs. And now we have 1 green block that represents our markup, our 50% markup, all right? So the cost or the price that we give the customer is 3 blocks. Okay? So we had 2 blocks, 2 red blocks of costs. We take one of those blocks and add it to the end and make it green. And so we have now 2 red blocks and 1 green block. And our price to the customer is the 2 red blocks and the 1 green block, or 3 blocks, right? So that is our markup. And what we're doing there is we are standing over here at the start of the bidding process, and we are looking this way, right? We're looking through those two blocks, and we're going to add 50%, which is one block, and that is our margin, okay? Well, now, or that's our markup. I'm sorry. That's our markup. So now what we have to do is we have to figure out our margin. So let's go back to our blocks. We have two red blocks and we have one blue block, right? How many blocks, or one green block, and how many blocks are our profit? It's the one green block, right? So now what we're doing is we're standing on the other end and we're looking the opposite direction where we have the total price to the customer and we know what our profit margin is going to be, or we know what our profit is going to be. And so we're looking backward on those three blocks, but it's three blocks this time, right? And our profit now is one green block out of three total blocks. So if you're quick with math, that's 1 over 3, which is 33%. So I have people come to me all the time that say, hey, I'm marking all my stuff up 50%. Why is my margin so low? It's not because of inefficiencies. It's not because of anything they're doing wrong. It's just simply that they don't understand that the difference between markup and margin can be quite large, right? And it's all about the perspective and which way you're looking at the equation. So again, let me go back on that. Scenario 1, we know our costs are two red blocks. We're standing over here looking this way, right? We have our two red blocks, and we are looking here to the right, following along to the right. We're going to mark it up one block, so we add that on the end, and that one block markup is 50%. Once we have our price, which is 3 blocks, we are now going to take our profit, which is the 1 block, and we're going to start at the other end of the equation, and we're going to look to the left. And we're going to see 3 blocks, and we're going to see that 1 block is profit out of 3 blocks, which is 33%, right? So a 50% markup will give you a 33% margin. And that's just how the math works on it, right? I want to give you some quick cheats so that you can have some benchmarks to understand what your profit margin is going to be based on your markup, or so that you know how much to mark it up to get the profit margin you want, right? So imagine, if you will, 2 columns. We have 2 columns. Column number 1, our top number, the first number in that column is 2 over 1, right? Which is just 2, but we're going to write it purposely as 2 over 1. Okay? Then we're going to go down. The next one is going to be 1 over 1. Down one more, 1 over 2. Down one more, 1 over 3. And then down one more, 1 over 4. Okay? So we have 2 over 1, which if you do the math is 200%. We have 1 over 1, which is 100%. We have 1 over 2, which is 50%. We have 1 over 3, which is 33%. And we have 1 over 4, which is 25%. Okay? In our second column, the column on the right, we are going to instead take the second number in the first column and put it up there as the first number. So 1 over 1. And then we're going to follow suit all the way down, and we're going to have 1 over 1 as the first number. We're going to have 1 over 2 as the second, 1 over 3, 1 over 4, and 1 over 5. Okay? So now what we've created are some benchmarks. If we're now looking straight across, we have 2 over 1 equals 1 over 1. Then we have 1 over 1 equals 1 over 2. 1 over 2 equals 1 over 3. 1 over 3 equals 1 over 4. And 1 over 4 equals 1 over 5, right? So when we convert all those to percentages, we have 200%, 100%, 50, 33, 25. Okay? And then over here, we start with 100%, and we're going to go 100%, then 50, then 33, then 25, and the last one will be 20%. All right? So basically what this tells us now is that over here in the left-hand column is my markup. If I mark it up 200%, my profit margin is going to be 1 over 1 or 100%. If I mark it up 100% or 1 over 1, my margin is going to be 1 over 2 or 50%. Right? And so on and so forth down the columns. So that is how you can use those as kind of benchmarks to be able to know where your markup needs to be able to hit different profit margins. All right? And that is why you may think that you're losing profit on jobs. But now you understand markup and margin, and you know that you are not losing money on jobs because of that, right? One last thing I want to mention about the markup. The markup doesn't necessarily have to be a percent. We can just add a dollar amount on there. So for instance, if we know all of our costs and we know that we just want to make $1,000 on this job, we can just add $1,000 markup. We don't have to do a percent, right? The other thing to keep in mind there is that our costs are what they are. We cannot reduce those unless we change the process or change the different items in for each step of the process, right? Our costs are what they are. Do not give a price below your costs, okay? So you can mess with that markup all you want. You can make it bigger or smaller, whatever works best for you. But we definitely want to make sure that we don't infringe on those costs that we've calculated, okay? So we have one more step to discuss in our 4-step process for bidding and estimating. And the 4 steps, again, are bid a process, figure out the costs, mark it up, and compare to market. Okay? So thank you very much, and I will see you again in our next episode. Thanks for listening. If you found this episode helpful, please like and subscribe for weekly episodes to help you fuel your profit, level up your cash flow, and finance your growth. Until next time, go enjoy some green M&Ms and protect that cash.